We need to wait for Janthi, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, I have started the recording session itself. So being recorded now. And once we ended the session, then I'll go ahead and send this across to you, okay?
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you, Kent.
You're welcome.
Okay. Hi, Miss Kwa. She around?
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Okay.
And
You represent HR, is it, in PwC?
Kent is a recruiter in PwC and also our campus engagement lead. I'm from the
Okay.
employer branding team.
right.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, but I
Hi,
work with the
everyone.
recruitment team closely.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
So are we going to show our videos for the recording or?
Yep.
I think it's good. It's good to show it.
Yes. Kent, are you going to show your video?
Oh, okay. So you want us to be in the video as well, is it?
Well, I'm not sure how the recording will look.
Okay.
The way,
I thought Mala was going to be the
yeah. So actually, I think
Kent, it's up to you. It's up to you. I really don't want to embarrass anyone.
okay.
That's
So I
okay.
guess right now you are seeing all of our faces here,
Yeah.
but when the recording comes
I'm
out,
not sure why I can't see.
sorry. Yeah, so I was saying when the recording comes out, it will show only the person who's speaking at the time. So one
Okay.
face at a time.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, then it's not as critical since we're talking. Okay, well, let me begin and just want to appreciate PwC for allowing us to interview our senior associate. And we've got Mr. Marley here.
Yeah.
And thank you, Mr. Marley, for giving us your time. We have Dr. Shymala and Dr. Janthi with us, and also we've got representatives from PwC. So thank you for this. And the whole idea of having this friendly chat with you today, Marley, is to help our students to just understand what it's like to start in the profession of accounting, whether that's in auditing, taxation, financial reporting, consulting. So we're interviewing many, many people and really grateful that PwC can allow us to get access to, well, what goes on in your life at PwC. Like, Marley, maybe we start with you, and would you like to tell us a bit about yourself, including
sure.
your background in Monash?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Hi. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Actually, we're really grateful. And okay, so actually, I graduated from Monash. I majored in accounting and banking and finance. I graduated recently, actually, December of 2018, and I joined PwC in January 2019. I've been here for about 1 year and 9 months. PwC is just to let you all know, the big thing that I felt, the change from going from university to working life, like you mentioned just now, to help bridge the gap. The big thing that I actually noticed was the knowledge difference, because in university we're quite limited to the topics that are in our textbook, right? But when you come into the workforce, what you realize is you sort of lack some of the knowledge because you don't really have the industry knowledge and the up-to-date knowledge, because even if our textbooks are updated on a very frequent basis, there is still a time lag, right? But when you go into the industry, it's real time, and you get to interact with a lot of these people that are involved in the operations on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, I feel like that was the biggest gap that I had to fill. And actually, PwC has this onboarding program, which kickstarts on day one when you enter, and that really helped with the transition.
Okay.
That's wonderful, wonderful. So tell us about you do have a life outside of PwC. Like, You know, students are wanting to know that are they going to be working 24/7 when they go into the profession? You know?
Okay, I mean, it's not 24/7, I can assure you. But let's also be practical. There are peaks and off peaks, right? So depending on which industry, there's four. If you were to join audit, there's SIPS, TIES, FS, and EMG. SIPS being the consumer industry, TIES being telecommunication and energy. Financial services are banks, insurance companies, and EMG are the emerging markets. So depending on which industry you're in, your peaks and off peaks, or rather your busy season and your slightly relaxed season varies. And there is a lot of opportunities to find a so-called work-life balance. It may not be very balanced during your peak, which doesn't last too long. But during, say, that 1 month, you may not have time for a lot of other things. But once this 1 week or so is done with, then you can actually go back to playing sports. I personally am quite involved in some company events. They organize a lot of stuff. Even during MCO, we had a lot of events going on. We had virtual trainings. We had virtual games. We had, I don't know if you guys have heard of Avalon. It's quite a nice, interesting game which can be played online. And
you have to tell us about that later, Marley.
Yeah, sure.
We're here to talk about your real work, and
So there is, you can find a work-life balance. Basically, it's not all work and no play kind of thing. Yeah.
But Malay, you were quite active in Monash Unit 2, weren't you?
Yeah. I was part of Culibre, the greenhouse, and then I was also part of NBC.
That's true.
Monash Business Club and Monash Entrepreneur Club as
That's
well.
right.
Yeah, so I did do quite a few things.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And you're currently in the audit section of PwC, and you've gone through several audit assignments in your recent experience.
Yeah, I have. I've been through actually about 4-5 clients actually in the past 1 year and 9 months.
Right. So can you tell us about a typical audit assignment?
Okay.
And then I'll pass it over to Jyanthi and Dr. Shymala to follow up with that.
Sure. Okay, so a typical audit engagement, I think students would have gone through the audit paper itself. There's a course offered. So when you actually go through that audit unit, it's quite similar to how the actual audit works, right? So we start out with the planning phase, and then that's when you understand your client, you understand their business, and then it goes on to the execute phase, which is where you do your test of details, your vouching, your substantive analytics. And then it goes on to completion, where you do your, post year end. What are the things that have changed? Does these changes affect your financial statements that you issue a report on? And that's basically how the outline works. Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Dr. Shymala? Yes.
Yes. On your audit engagements, because you normally work as a team, when we had the COVID-19 lockdown, how did this affect your audit dynamic?
Okay. Actually, because PwC, we use G Suite, Google Suite, basically. So we have so-called always been prepared for such a situation. We don't have to be there in person all the time. So when this happened, and we need teamwork, right? Because you cannot do an audit by yourself, especially for big financial institution companies. So we quickly transitioned to work from home style, and we already had our Gmail in place. We had our Google Meet in place.
Okay.
So we were just so instead of having physical meetings, we just moved it all online. But I'm not gonna lie, it was difficult at the start, right? Because it's just not going to be the same meeting someone in person and having a conversation and having to schedule their time to have the call online, and then you have internet disruptions, and you have, if you're at home and you have kids, then your kids are going to be there. You would have some difficulties, but I would say it was managed quite well.
Were the clients sort of okay with this audits being online? Or
Okay.
they had
Because even our clients had to work from home, right? Some of them were able to adapt very quickly because they already had the softwares or the systems in place. Others did not have it set up, or they had to engage. So in those clients specifically, we had some difficulties because it was hard for us to work offline, but at the same, I mean, off-site, but at the same time, we couldn't work on-site because the government or the restriction didn't allow us to. So there we did have some time lag for them to set up everything and get things started. But for the ones that already had the softwares in place, like they already were using Microsoft Teams, they were already using Zoom. So these clients, it was a lot more smooth, like the transition, we were able to quickly move over to these online platforms, and things went quite smoothly.
Jayanti, you want to ask anything?
Okay. Malay, you were saying that what we thought in the uni was not sort of comprehensive. So I remember teaching you Malay in third year accounting standards.
Yeah.
And I know that we cover a few of the current standards.
Yes.
But using those standards, is it easy to apply when you come out? I mean, that means you've gone through a few of the key standards.
Yeah.
Can that help you in your working life?
Yes, it certainly did. We went through leases and stuff. So when I went into my work life, that was applied instantly, right? So that was quite
Okay.
useful.
Wow.
Yeah. because
good.
because PwC does hire non-accounting graduates as well, right? So they were the ones that needed more coaching, which they do provide. As for the accounting graduates, I would say the graduates that came from Monash were slightly more privileged because the textbooks and the information that we get is a lot more updated compared to some universities out there.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. But there are certain things which we realized was not being taught in actually any university. For example, if you take IFRS 17 or IFRS 4, the insurance specific standards. Yeah, these are not really taught in any university because it's so specific, right? I'm not saying that we should teach, but these are the examples of things that you will realize that you need to pick it up as you start working. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, just one more question on the same area, Malay. When a new standard is introduced, like IFRS 9 has come in.
Yeah.
I know you have graduated for the last 2-3 years, but do you find any challenges when you had to implement these standards, these new standards?
Yes, actually, because for example, IFRS 9, we have the ECL, right? Expected credit loss. Yeah. So for a company to assess the expected credit loss, they need a lot of data.
Yes.
And they need to use current information as well, and future information. So basically extrapolating the information. But some companies did not have the information. Either their system was not equipped for it, or they just didn't have the softwares, or
I think the technology was not there for the
correct.
client.
Correct. Yeah. So when that happens, then you have a difficulty.
True.
But generally, the bigger clients, the multinational ones, they have the information and they prepare beforehand. So when it comes to them, they're already well aware and they know what to do.
Okay.
But the smaller ones are where we face the difficulty.
You have the issues.
Yeah.
That's good. Shymala, do you have any more questions?
Malay, can I just ask you, when you are doing the planning phase, when you have got national and international clients, what was the preliminary risk assessment challenges you had during the planning phase of your audit?
Okay. Specifically because of COVID, when we were doing the planning phase, as compared to prior year, right? Normally, when we do our planning phase, if the year end is in December, we will do the planning somewhere around July, August, which just passed. But we noticed in our planning this year, or we do our risk assessment analytics. So we try and get the current trial balance and the financial statements, the Q2, quarter two, and then we try and extrapolate it to December to see what has changed since the prior year. And we are quite certain that the information that we have obtained is going to change significantly by the time year end arrives. Because of COVID, business was interrupted for 2 months plus, right? So the information that we have now, we are not too comfortable, or rather we know that it will change. So this will certainly result in some uncertainties coming into the actual final year audit, which is not normally the case for big financial institutions, like you say, international and national ones. Normally, if we were to do the risk assessment in July or August, we will already know what to expect when it comes to December, but that is not the case now because of COVID.
Okay. So how did you actually change your audit procedures when you had these challenges?
Okay, so how we actually assess this is instead of doing it like prior year where we just extrapolate the figures, we had to account for COVID. We had to specifically say, okay, we need to go and find out if, let's say, your revenue has dropped. Why has it dropped? Which distribution channel did the drop arise from? And try and confirm the fact that the reduction was actually because of COVID and not something else. We need to make sure that there's not a going concern issue that's going on. So we actually need to actually wait for the September, the Q3 results to arrive, so that we can actually get the comfort that the impact that we actually see is because of COVID and not a going concern issue or anything else.
A lot of companies have going issue concerns, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's quite apparent. We see in the newspaper these days, a lot of companies are facing very big issues. And even if you walk into malls, even New Central that's nearby, even the McDonald's has closed. And and Sushi Tei, all these big companies that you would not expect to face the impact of COVID, they seem to have closed down a branch as well. So
Marley, just getting back to your challenge in terms of the companies. First of all, you were talking about not all companies were set up digitally to actually that you can access information what you need, and just getting on to, you mentioned 2 standards, and Jyanthi, IFRS 9 and then
16.
There were 16. Yeah. So which of those standards do you think were most challenging for you to get information on? So
okay. It would be MFRS 9, without a doubt, because MFRS 9 requires a lot of historical information, current information, and future information as well. Yeah. Right. As compared to MFRS 16, the only major estimation that you would need is your discount rate, right? Everything else is quite predetermined based on your contract.
Correct.
What about the asset impairment and things about valuation of assets? No.
Okay, so that is a concern for this year. We really need to assess which assets need to be impaired, especially your properties. So we need to try and find a new, which we are working on, and companies are really concerned about this as well. Whether they will be able to sell things in the second half of the year, or because people are losing their jobs, are they not going to spend as much? And a lot of them are not able to meet their budgets. Will this result in a goodwill impairment? Things like that. Yeah.
And that's another standard, Jyanthi,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Impairment, yeah.
Yes. So amazing.
Yeah.
Just one last question, Malay. You've got into the profession. Do you foresee any challenges that you're going to face in the future, and how would you intend developing yourself?
Okay. So I would say the biggest challenge that we face, not just in this profession, but in any profession now, would be the digital readiness.
Yeah.
Right? Are you ready digitally? Because the data size is increasing, right? So would it really be sufficient to be using the same procedures that you were using 20 years ago to
True.
address information now, which is so much more, and there's so many ways to manipulate it, right? So the digital readiness, and
Yeah.
actually PwC has realized this a few years back, and they've already been giving us trainings. We started using a few softwares to try and tackle this as it arrived, and it so happened that we're quite ready for what is to come. We have a lot of digital innovations, ways to address 100% of the population, even instead of doing our normal targeted testing and non-statistical sampling. Yeah.
There's something
And-
parallel to that, Marley. Like,
Yeah.
it's one thing to get you ready,
Mhm.
the auditors, and
Mhm.
but it's another thing to get the client ready. So
Yeah.
to what extent PwC is working with clients to help them get digitally ready. Obviously it'll be nice if they're digitally ready, because maybe they can actually compete better and
Mhm.
create more value for their
Yeah,
clients,
yeah,
etc.
yeah.
But for the extreme, for the applied purpose, that it's so much easier to audit a client if they are digitally ready in alignment with the Big Four, with PwC.
As for the clients which are not ready, I mean, actually PwC offers a wide range of services, consulting, advisory, tax, and so on. So if we realize that our client needs any help in any of these things, we can reach out to another one of our colleagues, and they can certainly help our client out to try and fix whatever they're facing. So
Yeah, interesting. And
we do
Jyanthi,
have
sorry, Marley, go. Yeah.
No, I mean, we do have the expertise in for any phase the company is in, actually. So yeah.
Jyanthi, like, I've been in your class with the students.
Yes.
This is third year financial reporting, and
Yeah.
it is a challenge for
Right.
them. Like, not only because it's a third year unit, but also standards, and students don't immediately see the application of the standards. So
Right.
I think it's important to have this conversation. So anything further you'd like to ask?
I think he has given me all the information that I was wanting to ask him, and very well answered too. So I think I'm good with all this.
Yeah. Shymala?
Yes. What would you advise the auditing students who are doing the course now?
We're going to auditing now.
They keep saying it's theory.
Actually, on the contrary, the audit unit itself is very, very applicable to the actual audit that we do. And even if you were to take the professional audit paper, I myself am doing NICPA, and it's very, very similar to what we had learned and what we're working. It's I would say the audit unit really helps when you join any auditing firm, because you get the foundation from there. But certainly, it does get more complex when you actually start working.
True.
But you get a lot of the foundation there, and it is a very I personally felt it was really, really helpful.
You're doing a professional year with NICPA, is that right?
Yes, I'm doing my professional with NICPA. I'm already done with 3 papers. I have 2 more to go.
Oh, so 5 in total.
Yeah, because when you finish your Monash degree, they give you all the exemptions you need. So you just need to take 5 more. Yeah.
But you have to do 2 or 3 years experience before you start, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
2?
Three. I think it's 3.
Okay,
yeah.
3. Okay.
I think Malay was a very, very good student. He had a very positive attitude when he was, which is true. And I can see that still in him. It's very good.
Oh, wonderful. So I think there's another element, Shymala, you reminded me of, was to, like, students are always interested in internships and work placement programs.
Yeah.
And so, Marley, could you comment on that?
Okay. Actually, Kent is actually involved in that. And they do, I think PwC comes for all the career fairs in Monash as well, which is where I applied to. They're very responsive. So, yeah, you can just head on to their booth, bring your CV and pass it over. And yeah, we do take in quite a lot of interns. And I think there should be a batch coming in January as well.
Right.
But I'm not sure about the hiring process. I think Kent would be better equipped to answer that at the day. Yeah.
And I think Malay is correct, right? Look, I mean, just hearing from what Malay has shared today, I don't see why we wouldn't continue going into Monash to recruit the students there. We continue to do that, right? I think what Malay shared is quite true in the sense that we have always been very active within the Monash campus itself. And I think hiring Monash students is definitely top of our priorities nonetheless. But I think what we will see a bit in terms of a change, right, is the fact that, with what COVID has brought to us, I think going to the physical career fair might be a tough thing to happen right now. But what we have then tried to do separately, right, is to transform some of this to be more virtual and to be online, and hence conducting workshops, right, via platforms such as the ones that we are currently using. Is what we are quite familiar with and used to at the moment. So I think Dr. Jaya or even Dr. Shymala, right, if you have any sort of even guest lectures that you would probably want to invite some of our, experts or assemblies, we can definitely work out on that and discuss how we can go about with that as well. Or even just, general soft skills workshops as well. I think that's something that we can potentially discuss and collaborate together with, to hopefully bring the best benefits to the students itself. So definitely those are some of the initiative or events that we will be able to do. But I think generally for applications wise, right, because I think to do these events, it will be based on period of time. But as a general knowledge, if you have students or any individuals that will want to look for an internship or even a graduate opportunity, you can always direct them to the PwC Malaysia website. They can then submit their application through there. And generally, if you have any students which you deem are your top students, right, and you just want to put in your personal vouch for them, right, you have my email address. Feel free to go ahead and share that across to me. We'll definitely be more than happy to have a look at their application as well.
Thank you.
What makes it easier is, although I look after campus engagements, but I am a recruiter myself, and I have 2 junior recruiters who I work very closely with, right, to look across graduates and internships within the organization. So I can help easily then connect all the dots and the pieces for us then to make sure that, those students that you especially personally vouch for, right, will be able to be given that opportunity.
Okay.
Actually,
inquiries from students as well, from good students trying to go into PwC.
That's great. Yep. So definitely we're open to that. I can't promise you that, we are going to be able to take in each and every one of them. But what I can promise you, though, however, on the other hand, right, is we will definitely look into their application. Sure. And whenever the opportunity and the timing is right, then I think without a doubt, we will be able to consider. And I think we generally take in quite a lot of students from Monash per year. Yeah. I can't tell you how many exactly right now off my head, but I know we do have a substantial amount of Monash students that has either gone through our internship program or even currently with us as a staff.
Okay.
That's wonderful. Can I just, I think this is wonderful PwC to, open this up and get students have a real insight into what it's like to be a professional out in the field, as Marley has described. Marley, could could we, for students that are currently studying, like they're in the third year, they're in auditing, they're studying financial accounting, and some days are good, but many days are bad. Is this for me? Did I choose the right unit? Have you got some words of wisdom or some encouragement for our students?
Okay, I mean, being quite honest, the studying standards isn't a very lively, it is quite dry to a certain extent, but I can assure you that it will without a doubt help you when you go out into the industry. So maybe just need to persevere a little bit. And unfortunately, nobody told me that, so I did struggle myself, but I hope coming from me, I've been working for the past 1 year 9 months, and I cannot stress the importance of accounting standards and the auditing unit as well, and the management accounts unit too. These three things have really, really helped me throughout my career.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very good.
Oh, that's a lovely note to
Yeah.
finish on. Jyanthi, would you like to say some final words?
Yeah. Malai, we really appreciate you coming and giving us your input. And we are going to definitely share this with you all and also with our students to give them some motivation to that they are learning facts and not just there to get through the exams.
Yep, of course. Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Thank you so
Glad-
much, Malai. Thank you, Kent, and thank you.
Thank you, Malay. Thank you, Kent and Ms. Quinn.
And thank you, PwC. It's wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Very good.
Thank you very
We'll
much.
go ahead
Thank
and
you.
share with this recording once I've had it, okay?
Okay.
Okay then. Thank you, Kent. Okay then.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye, Malay. How do I?